Welcome to Carry Bros Pros, the podcast for construction pros by construction pros, because your client satisfaction is the best paycheck. Now, here are James and Morris Carey.
Well, howdy. So good to have you with us for this another episode of Carry Bros Pros. Hi, I'm James Carey.
Yeah, and I'm Morris. As professionals, we're always interested in providing our pro listeners with good information. On this edition, we're going to be talking Crescent wrenches and the great history of this heritage brand.
Wow. I remember Dad had his Crescent wrenches.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
You're darn right.
Oh, boy. Our guest is Rena Fiorello. She is the Director of Brand Marketing for Crescent, division of Apex Tool Group. Welcome to Carry Bros Pros, Rena.
Hello. Thank you for having me today.
Oh, it's just wonderful to have you here. And, you know, people know about the history and the longevity and the culture of the Crescent brand. Tell us a little bit about it.
I'd love to. I think it's an exciting time for the Crescent brand. And, you know, as you had mentioned earlier when we were talking, a lot of people know Crescent as a tool, the Crescent wrench, right? I mean, I'm sure that's what you're familiar with it as.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's kind of been synonymous with, you know, adjustable wrench. A Crescent wrench, you know, obviously flows off the tongue a little bit easier. So it's really been synonymous with the tool and not necessarily the brand. So what I'm, you know, tasked with and our team is tasked with is really rebranding and kind of refacing the Crescent brand to really remind people that Crescent is a brand that offers a lot more than just the adjustable wrench. But because we have such an iconic history, the adjustable wrench dates back to 1907. We've got history around the first Atlantic flight with Charles Lindbergh being carrying a Crescent adjustable wrench. And, you know, it's just had a lot of history. It's been time trusted by trades, you know, for over a century. So with that, you know, reputation and trust, we were able to relaunch the Crescent brand late 2017. It's a huge rebrand. So what we did is we actually updated the logos, kind of, I think, made it a little bit more trendy looking. We're updating the packaging to align with that. But the biggest thing that we've done is we've expanded the Crescent brand to include some other brands underneath the Apex portfolio that sit in the same space as Crescent, and that is Lufkin tape measures with snips, Nicholson files, HK Porter bolt cutters, and just recently we've moved the Job Box brand underneath the Crescent portfolio, so we're calling it the Crescent Tools brand.
Wait a minute. You're absolutely killing me, Rena.
You're doing it.
You're killing me.
Your mind.
Now, you're
I just
talking
want to
to
know.
a couple of guys who make their living with tools and an audience of folks who understand the psychology of tools and specifically good tools, and that the key to safety and profitability is good tools.
Yeah, and I want to see Crescent put together a job box with two Crescent wrench handles that are detachable.
Now you're creative there.
Yeah, and then the handles would be detachable for use during the workday, and then could be set back onto the job box to open and close the cover.
You guys aren't a one-trick pony, boy. According to the information that you provided, you now have over 2,600 tools under your umbrella.
Well, it's actually climbed up more closer to 4,000 when you add the Job Box portfolio.
Well,
so we're continuing to drive.
Call me a liar for 1,400 tools.
I mean, it's just, you know, apples, oranges.
That's
a
lot of SKUs.
Okay.
But, I mean, what is the value proposition associated with a better tool? I mean, we know that, and I'm certain that the majority of the folks listening know that. But what is the philosophical message that Apex and Crescent has as regards to features and benefits?
Well, I think, you know, when you look at the kind of the brand ethos of Crescent, where we're driving it for tomorrow is really about bringing innovation to our tools. And the way we're doing that is connecting on the job sites, in the construction zones with our users to find out what's working and what's not working. Because at the end of the day, we have to be able to bring tools that are solving problems that the users are having on the site. If we're not bringing tools that are solving a problem, then we're not going to make it. So that, what we call voice of the customer, is exactly how we drive that innovation. We have a couple of things coming out at the end of this year that I think are really going to kind of bring back some, I think, fresh breath to the Crescent brand, because it's an innovation you haven't seen in a while. It's really going to help drive, a lot of the messaging that we are looking to say. You look at just the way consumers buy today. They're very digital savvy. We have to be able to, get in front of them, let them understand what features that we're delivering that are going to help them get their job done, and, allow them to continue. Because you know how these pro users, your listeners, are very skilled trades, hard, workers, and right. They're proud of their work. And I think if we can provide them a tool that not only lets them get it done properly, but maybe it's faster, it allows them to, have better access, and things like that. That's what we're looking to do, is to provide innovation, things that they're not seeing today. And I think a good example of that, I don't know if you guys have seen, but we just launched some innovation in tape measures, and I think a lot of people are like, how in the world can you add anything into the tape measures? We have 100 choices out there on the market today, and you can argue that there's, some really, number one brands out there that are basically driving the category.
Is that under the Lufkin brand?
Now it's called Crescent Lufkin, but yes, it's being driven under the Lufkin umbrella. And, there's new things on the tape, and it came from speaking with users in the field, working through problems that they were having. One being simple as, having to have single person operations. How many times have you had to use a tape measure and you always have to get somebody to hold the other end? Right. So one of the things that we added to the Shockforce tape measure is a diamond coated end hook. And not only is it a diamond coated end hook, but the blade is dual sided. So no matter which angle you're using, you can measure easily as a one person job. So little things like that, I think, really help people on the job. It also comes in what we call the night eye version. So, if you're working in darker conditions, darker rooms, not areas that are lit well, this tape measure has a high vis green blade, allowing you to get better visibility, and we increase the marking. So there's little things that I think go a long way that are going to, help kind of allow us to make our mark within the tape measure category.
So if you're looking for molding miter snips, you can find the Crescent Whiz. If you're looking for offset straight snips, there's the Crescent Whiz. How about the next generation aviation snips? Boy, I'll tell you, don't be caught without those. But the one that really rings the bell is the Crescent wide jaw adjustable wrenches. The wide jaw really sets apart the baby toys from the real tools.
Well, now you're going to tease people, because those, we haven't started shipping those yet. So those are very anticipated items that are coming out. So we do have them on the website, so they can go to crescenttool.com and start reading and getting more information on those. But those are, I think, going to be a big hit as well, like you said. And it's solving, again, yet, a simple thing, but just having that extra diameter to be able to get the job done. And I think that's really what Crescent is about. Like I said, it's bringing new innovation, and it might be in small elements, but those small elements are going to help our users get their job done. So that's what we're about.
Rena, will you folks be exhibiting at National Hardware Show?
We will, and then later we'll probably another big show we'll be at is at the Staff Show, of course. We actually unveiled the Crescent rebrand and kind of the face of the Crescent brands this past year at Staff, and it went over very well. And I think, it kind of, like I said, brought a little new energy to the brand. And you're going to start seeing us a lot more on social media. We're connecting with bloggers. We're going to start getting our product in front of people, so we can make sure that our messaging is getting out. For a while, we weren't really putting a lot of marketing muscle behind Crescent. When I first started Apex Tool Group, we had over 32 brands. So we've really done a lot of consolidation. We've tried to, group together these brands that make sense, that, like I said, live in the same space, that allow us to offer, a wide variety of tools that, like you said, rather you're working in HVAC and you need, some snips that can, cut up to, enough HVAC for 700 homes, or, you're looking at files or bolt cutters, there wasn't a lot of overlap. So it just made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Right.
Very good, Rena.
Yeah. You know what, Rena? Here on Carrie Bros Pros, we like to ask our guests to share 3 points for success with our pro listeners. Could you share yours?
Sure. When I think about, as a consumer myself and working with, the experience I've had with some pro trades and just, things around my house, I think the biggest thing that you can do, rather big or small job, is to deliver on your promises. So make good on your word, because I think that obviously builds your success for tomorrow. Word of mouth is huge, and I think, these guys probably appreciate that. And so that would be 1. Maybe 2, just keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate jobs. There's often beauty in simplicity, and I think we get caught up in, all the different things that, the new trends and things like that. But I think keeping it simple, you can deliver, probably help lower stress. And then last, I got to go here, but you got to pick the right tool for the job, right? So it reflects on you. You only have a first time, I think, to make a great impression. So your work is your legacy. So I would say, choose well. We've got a great arsenal of tools at Crescent Tools, and I look forward to, showcasing a lot more over the next year, and hopefully follow us on social so you can keep up with all the great things that we have coming out.
She's a super duper tool lady. She is Rena Fiorello, Director of Brand Marketing for Crescent. They're a division of Apex Tool Group, and you may learn more about them by visiting their website. It is Crescent, Crescent, tool.com.
Yeah. And remember, you'll find our guests' information as well as additional podcasts, videos, and articles on our website at carriebrosPros.com.
Okay, everybody, hold on to your hard hats. It's time for a quick bro tip from the Carey brothers.
We learned a long time ago to measure twice and cut once. We also learned that you should never cut with a dull blade. The same holds true with any cutting instrument: saw blades of all kinds, chisels, drill bits, hole saws, scrapers, shears, and utility knives. Essentially, anything that's designed to cut. Beyond producing superior results, sharp blades make a job easier and safer. Dull blades require more energy and typically produce gouging or splintering. Cutting with a dull blade can also feel like pushing a wheelbarrow uphill instead of like a hot knife through butter, as is the case with a sharp blade. Cutting tools can cause all sorts of injuries, and some quite serious. Before putting a cutting tool in the hands of an employee or fellow worker, be sure that he or she has been checked out on how to properly use the tool. Make certain that they understand the do's and especially the don'ts of tool use, care, and maintenance. A well-maintained tool will perform a whole lot better and last infinitely longer than one which has been abused or poorly maintained. And although you want to keep your tools in service for as long as possible, know when it's time to retire a tool that's no longer safe or isn't capable of producing the most professional results. Sharp blades produce sharp results and keep tool-toting pros happy.
Well, that's our podcast for today. Thanks for listening to this edition of Carey Bros Pros, the podcast for construction professionals by construction professionals. Want more? Check out carriebrosPros.com. You'll find articles and videos to help make your business a success.